Fashion trends can be a reflection of the world that we live in. It could be a reaction to the world that we live in, or it could be a rebellion against the world that we live in. For example, when the Industrial Revolution happened, a worker class formed, and there was a lot more utilitarian clothing that were coming out at the time. For example, trench coats or pants with lots of pockets on them, shirts with pockets on them. There were more functional clothing that were coming out because it was a reflection of, first of all, mass production, but also the working class. So it was the extension of whatever the world was experiencing, we experienced that in fashion. That's just one example. When the world goes through a recession or difficult times like war or financial difficulties, some clothing become popularized that reflect old conservative values or type of fashion from a time when things were more stable. Maybe corsets or long skirts and things like that, things that are more traditionally feminine will become popularized because we're trying to go back to old values and we're trying to feel a sense of certainty in our lives. It can also be reactive. It can be protesting against the current world. We're seeing the world change, we're seeing the economy change, we're seeing technology change, and people are changing. Obviously, we saw that the world was not run by such great people. But besides that, we're seeing the rise of AI, and that's going to change the world so much. And the way I see AI changing the world isn't about some big overlord, all-knowing entity is going to form and it's going to dictate our lives. It's going to be a lot more hyper-specialized AI forms that are going to be so good at one particular thing, and they're going to be better than all of us. And it's going to change the economy completely. It's going to change every single industry. So obviously, this hyper-specialized, affected AI is going to affect the fashion world as well. And that one thing that's going to take longer is actual physical automation of garment making and basically doing hands-on work. That's going to take longer than the digital ways that AI can help us. So that obviously shows that part of a fashion is probably going to get affected less. But the design part of fashion is going to get affected so much. I think what we're going to see is that everyone is going to be a designer because everyone has ideas and everyone has some sort of creativity in them, but they don't have the skills or the language to actually express that. And I think AI is going to help us all become designers, or AI is going to be the designer and we're going to be the client. I don't know what that relationship will look like. But what's going to happen is there's going to be companies where they help the consumer design what they want and what they want to see. There's probably going to be some sort of factory model that is business to customer straight away. And there's going to be very low order quantity requirements. And basically what's going to happen is you'll design your own clothing and your own styles, and that will get produced for you. So you might tell AI, so I like the silhouette in this dress, but I like the pattern in this dress, and I want something that says this and this on it. And you're going to get a design out of that. And I'm sure there will be companies that help us make that into reality. So what this means is that we're probably going to see super personalized clothing out there. I think everyone is going to double down on the identity and what makes them different. And it's going to be a very individualized, very authentic, very expressive kind of fashion society that we're going to enter. And the thing that's going to support that is that AI is going to know us so well, because our AI systems already know us so much because we talk to them about our problems, good things, bad things, ask for advice. So they're going to know us better than our family and our therapist because we go to them for everything. So what's going to happen is, because AI is going to know you well and you're going to shop through AI very soon, it's going to know exactly what to offer you to buy. So you're going to find it very easy to find things that are within your taste. You're going to find things so much easier, and there's going to be a lot more accessibility. This could go two ways, depending on the economy at the time. It could make giant firms even more giant and offer them to everyone, and they could get rich, and small designers could get smaller, or small designers could use this AI platform to try and survive that climate and still be very relevant. Could actually see that this hyper-individualized kind of taste could give room for every type of designer to actually find success. So I think that's one thing that's going to happen. And things could also go the other way. We could find a lot of standardization in the way that we dress. I believe that standardization could start, but I think it'll happen not from an idea of being boring, but it could be because we will probably try to find some certainty and some clarity in times of change. There's going to be many different changes in the future. I think politically we're going to change. I think economically we're going to change. I feel like we're seeing the last era of capitalism as we know it. Capitalism isn't going to go away, but I think it's going to change. This is the last time that it's going to look exactly as it does. So in a changing world, I think we will try to find some simplicity, which is why we will go back to minimalism. But standardization won't just come from that. I think standardization is going to come from our desire to make things more efficient, because I think in the future, if things go in the way it's going, energy is going to be more expensive. And if energy is more expensive, everything needs to be more efficient. So we're going to try to be more efficient. And due to that, there's going to be more accessible clothing that are more standardized. But at the same time, this could pay off because in our future, we're going to find so many more different fabrics than we've ever had before. I think this standardized kind of clothing is going to help us on a new fabrics and new technology that we've found. Fashion has been around for so long, and the types of fabrics that we've been wearing has been the same. Yes, we have polyester now, which we didn't back in the day, but still, it's just one type of fabric. We're still using the same ingredients to make fashion and to make such different types of fashion. And it's the same in the building industry, by the way. We're using the same kind of materials to build houses: timber, concrete, brick. What else is there? So we're entering a new era of innovation. And I think we're going to find so many different materials. I think we're going to find materials that are so much more technologically advanced. We're going to be wearing intelligent materials. Maybe they're going to keep you warm or cool at the same time. Maybe they're going to be healing towards your skin. Maybe they're going to help with certain skin conditions. So hyper-individualization and standardization, I think these can exist at the same time. But another thing that could happen is I think we will see challenging ideologies come through fashion. So whatever happens in the world and whatever is frowned upon at that time, you will try to differentiate yourself. And the first thing that place starts from is your clothing, because the first thing people see is the way you look. And you always try to use that as a way to fit in with the good people, but not differentiate ourselves from the bad people. So what happened is that we obviously saw people in power and people who hold the wealth in this world weren't such good people. And I think this is going to be the end of luxury as we know it. I don't think we're going to try to look visibly luxurious anymore. And I am glad, because you might remember quiet luxury being very trendy at the time, and I never got on board with it. And I actually despise quiet luxury because, first of all, why are you trying to look like someone that you aren't? I feel like quiet luxury took so many people's style away. It was almost like a uniform to try and fit in and to look wealthy. You don't need to look boring to look wealthy, first of all. Secondly, if you feel like you need to look boring, you are literally sacrificing your style at the expense of trying to fit in with some very wealthy people who have generational wealth, who have not earned that. And I don't know what there is to look up to there. And at the moment that you popularize quiet luxury, those people who you want to be like aren't going to dress like that anymore because they don't want to look like you. They genuinely don't want to look like you. Why do you want to look like them? So I was very against that in the first place. But we're going to see the end of quiet luxury, which we already have seen slowly. But quiet luxury started becoming very popularized after a lot of difficulty post-COVID, because there was a lot of financial issues that everyone went through. There was a lot of accessibility issues. And these very wealthy people didn't get affected the same way we did. So I feel like we idealized them. But now that we're seeing that wealthy people aren't so good, I think we're going to stop trying to look visibly rich anymore. And I think we're going to see a different kind of style come through. We're not going to look at power the same way. We try to gain some sort of power through our clothing, whether it's looking relatable that makes us feel powerful or standing out that makes us feel powerful. At the end of the day, we're looking for power. And we're definitely seeing power change in this world. So I'm looking forward to the end of boring clothing. As we see that the ultra rich are not doing anything good, I think we're going to try to differentiate ourselves. And I think this is going to be our gateway to getting into very authentic and weird versions of ourselves. And I think we're going to be a lot more comfortable expressing our weirdness. So that's going to be one thing. I think it's going to also open doors towards appreciating community more. So we might create little micro communities and we might dress like them. So for example, there could be a lot of merch stuff coming up, which is slowly starting up. It might not just be your social media influencers that create merch or YouTubers that create merch. It could be people who like coffee with 3 sugars and they form some sort of internet society and they have merch that say, I like 3 sugars hot my coffee. And then they wear that like a uniform and they spread that ideology. I think this is happening a little bit. I love seeing t-shirts that Hank Green puts out. I don't know if you guys watch Hank Green, but there's always like a specific animal or something they talk about. And there's so much stuff happening in the comments. And he releases t-shirts and there's only limited amounts. Like only order it within like 48 hours. And if you have that, like I see someone talk about that certain fish that he made a video about yesterday, that's a conversation point straight away. So I think people are going to try and create micro communities, and I think there's going to be fashion coming out of those micro communities. Another thing that is going to happen is we're going to see culture be a lot more appreciated. The world is becoming a lot more global and we're interacting with each other so much more. So I think we're not only going to see culture and cultural clothing have rise, but we're going to see cultural fusion. I think we're going to collaborate with our friends, or, the first designers will collaborate and create these like juxtaposition of different cultural identities. But I think friends are going to do that too. Maybe you're going to wear your friend's cultural belt and she's going to wear your very cultural scarf. I think we're going to try to lock in on how we relate to each other and how we represent ourselves. And I think we're just going to see variety, so much more variety. And it's so funny because, like, technically fashion is like, I always think, like, isn't everything done? Isn't everything found? Like, how many more styles can you do? But there is always more. It's crazy that there's always more. And I think it's going to be a lot more about styling and putting pieces together more than having one particular clean look. I think cleanliness is going away. The future is going to be a lot more experimental. I think we're going to have the tools to experiment. We're going to be excited to experiment. And I don't think AI is going to kill creativity. I don't think it's going to kill design. I think it's going to make everyone a designer. And then from that, maybe we will have classes of designers. There'll be different ideas that are honored. Everything lives in a cycle and everything will come back to its origin point. So we might all become creatives and then creativity might die and everyone might get sick of that and then go back to being very simple, and then everyone will get sick of the simple and then everyone will go back to being very creative again. It's just a cycle. So it's going to be very interesting. If you were to tell me, so how can I prepare for these trends? What should I do? You don't need to prepare. Like, they will be accessible to you when they're produced and when the time comes. But you don't need to be in line with trends in the first place. Like, you need to have your own style. And you might say, well, I want a timeless look so I can survive the trends and still look relatable. Timelessness is not through the clothing that you buy. You can't actually buy a timeless piece. There was low-rise denim that was popularized in the 90s and the 2000s, and now they're back. They're not the same. The pockets have changed. The waistline has changed. The tightness around your legs have changed. When you try to buy a timeless piece, it's never timeless. It's always still has cues that represent that era. You can say, I'm going to buy a very simple shirt. The buttons are different. The neckline is different. These pieces are different. So you don't try to find a timeless piece because it's timeless. Buy it because you like it, and you only buy things even if you're okay to wear it when it's out of fashion. And it's hard to tell because trends are so popularized, but please, you need to have your own sense of style. The best way to be timeless is to have your own sense of style. And it's almost like, think of it like you building your own country and your own laws and your own culture. Like, what would you build? What would your flag look like? What colors would it have? What would be the rules? Just try to almost form your own culture. Like, that's how expansive fashion can be. There's so many ways you can express yourself, and that's going to make you timeless, and that's going to make you iconic, and it's going to make you ahead of time because you're not constricted by a timeline. So you're always ahead of your time because no one's done you like you. And if you want to form your own style, I have a video on this. It's called How to Rebrand Yourself in 5 Simple Steps. I tell you how to find your color palette and how to find your textures and how to find your silhouettes and your accessories. And I'm not telling you to buy anything in that. It's just about using what you have. And if you struggle with finding your own style, I have one-on-one sessions with people. You can have a consultation with me at first. You can message me and I will help you guys with your style. I've done this for many years now, and it's a beautiful journey to find what you like and why you like it. And it's like a way of getting to know yourself, and I recommend it to everyone. So yeah, the best thing you can do is find your own style and try to be timeless in that way. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this new era of fashion. I think we're going to see so many beautiful things, and maybe we're going to see things that we don't like, but a good era is coming. Even though things are very difficult, I always am trying to see the good things that are going to come. I hope you like these predictions, and I feel very strongly about them. I'm so thankful for my pattern recognition in where these trends come and go. Maybe it's coming from my anxiety. I hyper-analyze every single situation. I try to find links between very irrelevant things, but they're never irrelevant. But I'm also privileged because in architecture, we get taught a lot of art history, and you always see that art never comes from a creative place at the beginning. It always comes from some feeling, some emotion, some cultural thing, some political, societal, economical thing. So yeah, I pay a lot of attention to those events. And yeah, I hope I can share that knowledge with you guys. If you like a video like this, I can make a second round. I like talking about psychology a lot more, but I found that this is something people want. People want to be informed. And I think you don't have to be so informed because you have your own style to worry about. So you don't need constant information flow from the outside and what's working, what's not working. You get to decide that. You are the stylist, you are the designer. Don't let companies or other people or influencers tell you this is the way that you should live or this is the way that you should dress. You also have agency to decide that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Love you all. Take care. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.